Hey everyone, welcome back to Advancing with Amy, Mental Health Warrior and Neurospicy Mama. Today we're flipping the script and turning things upside down. Lori Kirstein from the Goodbye Goodgirl Podcast is going to be interviewing me. Yes, you heard it right. I'm not going to be interviewing today. I'm going to be in the hot seat. Get ready for a fun and real conversation as Lori takes over the interview mic. If you like what Lori's doing, don't forget to give her a big thumbs up on YouTube and show your support. Let's dive in and make some magic together.
Hi, Lori here with the Goodbye Goodgirl Podcast. And today I have the indomitable Amy Taylor, and she is the mental health warrior and neurospicy mama. You can't pay enough for a title like that, honestly. She's a life coach, a spiritual coach, spiritual coach, podcast host, and a social worker who's basically built a career out of turning chaos into clarity. Sounds good to me. She helps women with mental health and neurodivergent challenges stop spiraling, start thriving, and maybe even laugh a little along the way. So, Amy, I met very recently. She is real. She is funny. She is just boundless. And I am so happy to have her with me because I think she's one of the coolest women in my life. So, how the heck are you, Amy? Welcome.
Wow, I'm doing great now. I have some chill. That was great. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Where the heck did you come up with Neurospicy Mama? I gotta know.
Actually, you know what? One of the first people I interviewed, it was just Mental Health Warrior. And one of the first people I interviewed said they were neurospicy. And I decided I was going to be Neurospicy Mama. I liked it.
I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like it's saying, I'm going to be my freak flag self. I'm going to be my freak flag. But you don't have to say it. You just go, I'm neurospicy.
Right, exactly. Like it or lump it.
Like it or lump it. So have you all know, first of all, what is neurodivergent for those who don't know? And also, have you always known this about yourself?
Great question. Neurodivergent is just that your brain thinks differently. It operates a little differently. It could be autism. It could be ADHD. It's really anytime your brain is different than the neurotypical person, the average person. It can even be people with a traumatic brain injury. My specific one is bipolar disorder and ADHD, and my daughter's on the spectrum with ADHD. And did I always know? No, I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until I was in my 40s, and I got diagnosed with bipolar in my 30s. So, nope, didn't always know.
Did that change your life in some noticeable ways? Learning that this was happening and it was a thing and it wasn't.
Yeah, it gave me help because once you have a label, people can help you.
Right. Got it. Is it one thing about having a label on something? Because I know when I was in my 20s, I was in therapy and I was told, you have depression, anxiety, you have, what was the other one? The one that vets have when they come back.
PTSD.
I had PTSD, all these things, but that helped them give me the right medications, but it didn't help me heal from it. And I wanted to heal from it. But I know at some other time we've talked about, the fact that what we go through, what we are made of is also very, very sacred in that it creates certain aspects to us. So would you talk to us about the sacredness and the gift of being quote unquote different?
I think it makes you really take a look at who you are and what your belief system is. And I'm very spiritual, and I believe there are a zillion pathways to God. And I personally believe there's a source of energy that combines all of us, brings us all together. And as one, it's a very powerful energy of love. So, learning that I was bipolar especially made me look at, because I was not happy in the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a horrible diagnosis. But then when the meds started to work, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's much better. I'm not as volatile. I'm not yelling at my kid. So it was relief that I got. So,
I'm going to ask you a question. I know I've asked you off air before. If you could heal from it and no longer be neurodivergent, if you could take that magic pill, would you?
no, because I am who I am and I like myself now. Haven't always, but I have for a while now. And like for my daughter, she has autism. I wouldn't change that for anything because she is so creative and so funny and she's just her own wonderful being. So I wouldn't change it.
That is beautiful. I wouldn't change my past now, although a lot of it was really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to do it again. I think it served its purpose. I think it had a purpose, but I had to decide the purpose.
Exactly. And I've had some very, very dark periods in my life that I definitely don't want to live again. But I also am appreciative that I've had them and survived because that does two things. It allows me to help other people that are going through that. And secondly, it makes me know that I'm a survivor, that I can go through a depression again. And it's different when you go through it now. I'm 54. And when I go through a depression now, I go, okay, this sucks, but I know that it's going to end at some point and I need to get help. And I know I have tools to go get help now. So it's a totally different ballgame.
One of the things that I do in my work with people is really challenge the things that we think are just givens.
Yeah.
You know, I think that you do the same thing in your own way. So can you talk to us about how you break the rules and how you question the isms that we're just supposed to believe are real?
Well, I would like to say I'm fearless, but I wasn't in the beginning. When I first decided to what I call come out of the closet as being bipolar, um, only my closest friends and family knew, like even my extended family did not know. And I was very, very nervous. And I had had cancer previously. And that's what kind of made me go, you know what? I survived cancer. I'm going to be myself from here on out. It's just what you see is what you get. And so I put it on Facebook and I started a blog at the time. And I decided to, start a podcast. And the first week that I had done that, after it was out on Facebook, I literally woke up one night in a cold sweat. I sat straight up in bed out of the sound sleep and freaked out. I thought, oh my God, what have I done? And my poor family, they're probably embarrassed and now I can't ever take it back. And so, I had to wait until morning time and call my mom. And she was like, we're not embarrassed and you haven't changed who you are. And who cares? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm all right.
Wow. What
It's
is
scary.
that? What is that? That thing when we step outside of our comfort zone, that first moment of like every single fear coming up and going,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
That's just this. It's an energy. It's not real. It's like ghosts going boo. Is
Well,
that
your body wants you to stay in status quo. And so your body is fighting to keep everything the same. And so when you step outside of that circle or that box, your body goes, wait, this is not safe. And so you have
exactly?
to spend a little time to build that up and get to where your body feels safe.
Well, this is You're on something that is really dear to my heart, because I bring acting and improv into the work that I do with, say, executive women or women in groups, which is get people visible. This is the one thing that we are terrified to do.
Yeah.
Right? We're just terrified that all of the physical and emotional securities we've built up will somehow magically not be there, and people will see us, and they'll see how scared we are or how flawed we are. And I think that's a universal, but it's also not the human condition. I think it's conditioning. I think we've been conditioned to judge ourselves negatively, never positively. We have to actually work to judge ourselves positively.
Right. Because when you're a kid, you think you're fabulous. I mean,
of course,
you can fly and you can, you have a cape, and it's totally different when you're a kid. You definitely get that ground into you as you grow up, that you need to be hard on yourself and push more and not settle for less and all that stuff. But it's a weird dichotomy, because at the same time you don't want to be seen, it's being seen that makes you feel better. You know what I mean?
Say more about that.
Yeah. Well, I just mean that even though it's scary, and so you don't want people to see that you're afraid, maybe, or see that you have a, what do you call it? Like you have a sore spot or something they can get to you with. Yeah. But at the same time, once somebody really truly sees you and who you are, and they accept you that way, oh my gosh, that just is so fulfilling.
Yes. Call it emotional intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
When I know that not only am I okay with what I'm sharing, but that you're okay with what I'm sharing. Wow. Bliss multiplied by 2. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Take it every day. Yeah. When I'm in a really bad spot, now I know how to shift. And if I'm not being stubborn, if I'm not being stubborn, then I can go and I can shift it really quickly, really easily. But when I get stubborn, then I can spend 4 days, miserable. And
isn't it interesting when you do that, when you get stubborn, it's like you want to be in that funk. It's like, don't make me feel better. Don't take me out of the house. Don't, make me get in nature. All the things that will help. You're just like, I don't care. I just feel like this and I want to feel like this. Everybody leave me alone. But as soon as you get that little pinprick of light, it's like, oh, that's what it was like before. Oh, yeah, I want that back. And then you start to do those things.
Oh, yeah. I used to feel like...
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And I too call it that little pinprick of light. That's all it takes, is that little tiny...
Yeah.
That little bit of light. You're coming back. Just coming back. I wonder, given our conversation up to now, I'm thinking, I wonder if that stubbornness is another part of the conditioning of saying things are supposed to be hard. And I'm supposed to really hurt my way to the payoff, which is feeling good. I'm just wondering right now, is that what that is?
I think it's that. And I think it's also, like I talked about before, that once you're feeling a certain way, your body wants you to stay there and be safe in that, whatever it is that you're feeling. So I think that's part of it. But I also do think that we definitely think life is supposed to be hard. I can't tell you how many times my dad said to me when I was little, no one promised you life was fair. And, life is supposed to be hard, and you have to pull up your bootstraps, put your big girl panties on.
No. I had the same crap come my way. And so did probably everybody who's going to listen to this.
Right.
And that is extremely damaging.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing what you and I know, which is that what you believe and what you focus on is what you gonna get. Right? Henry Ford said it. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I remember also when I was young, everyone said I was so sensitive. My parents always told me, quit being so sensitive, quit crying. And now I'm like, you know what? I like that I'm sensitive. It's part of who I am. It's why I'm a social worker and a coach in the first place. And that's important to me. And I'm proud of that now.
Ah, that's beautiful. Yes. And that's incredibly true. There's nobody like you. There's
Yeah, we're
nobody
all
like you. There
individual.
never will be. Never. You're it. So who are we waiting for to come along and go, you're good enough? It's not, it's a losing game.
No, you have to come along for yourself. You have to say, I'm good enough.
Right. Now, you gave me a really interesting list of rules that you break. You challenge the perfect mom myth. You normalize mental health conversations in bold, unfiltered ways. You help women rewrite their lives after devastation. I am most interested in this moment about your challenging the perfect mom myth. Could you say something about that?
Sure. Well, I have two children and I had them 18 years apart. So I have one that is 32 and has his own family, and my grandkids are there and everything. And then I have my teenage daughter, who I told you is on the spectrum. And in the beginning with my daughter, she would act out, and everybody just kept telling me, Amy, she's spoiled and you let her get away with so much, and you need to discipline her more, and she needs spanked. And I tried, I wanted to be a good mom. And so when everyone kept telling me that, I did start to discipline her more. And then it got worse. She just acted out horribly. And I couldn't get her back under control for a while. And so I finally, after we, got her diagnosed and everything and got her help, I started reading all these books on parenting and autism and all this stuff. And I just told the people that were still telling me that she was spoiled that they needed to basically mind their own business, because that's not the case. And I had to be the mom that I knew I had to be for her. And now that I've done that, her and I have an incredible relationship. So I'm so thankful that that happened.
Oh my God. That is, to me, that is like the biggest step that women can take, that mothers can take, is I'm doing it my way. And I know I'm not deliberately causing harm. And I know I'm not being blind to any harm I could be causing.
Exactly.
But I'm doing it my way.
Yep.
Did I tell you the story of these two people who had a child on the spectrum? I don't know if I had told you that story
I
before.
don't think so.
And I can't for the life of me remember their names. This is back in like the 1980s. I read in some stuff from these people. And they had a child on the spectrum, and very deeply on the spectrum. He would sit and turn in circles, and he would bang his head against the wall, and, really extreme sorts of things. And they heard from someplace that if you just sit with him and do what he's doing, it's going to really help. It's going to normalize things. It's going to change things. So they thought, well, we've tried everything else.
Yeah.
So they went on a 24-hour schedule where they took turns, probably 4 hours at a time. And whatever he did, they did. And when they were giving this talk, it was 25 years later. He was 27. He was no longer autistic, and he was leading workshops with them.
Wow. Well, that's another point for being seen. He had to feel like he was finally seen and accepted as he was. And then he could grow.
Yes. Then he didn't have to spend that energy defending himself. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. He didn't have to be like the odd duck out. His parents finally looked at him and said, we're going to just do what you do because we see you and what you're doing is okay. And we love you. And that does everything for a kid.
Oh my God, you're right. That's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's gorgeous. I'm going to have to hunt down their names. Like you give the title of the book to you and put it in here.
Oh, yeah, I would love that.
Wow. Oh, God. Amazing people. Amazing people. I love people who think outside the box.
Yeah, me too.
And challenge their own fear to go live out there and try it out. See if it works. See what happens. I also wanted to ask you, you say that you don't sugarcoat or sanitize personal development, and ditto.
Right.
I can't take it. Tell me what do you find that you most particularly have to wash away when you're talking to people?
Well, I just think that positivity has a place, but I don't think you can always be that way. And I don't think that we should force people to be positive when they don't feel well or when they are in that funk or they want to stay in it. You have to accept people where they're at and be okay with that. So I just, there's a lot of good personal development tricks and tips out there, and they're good. But I just think they're not for everybody at every stage of their life. Does that make sense?
I think that's spot on for my money as well. I mean, almost everything out there has worth. It helps somebody.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
maybe not today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been thinking, and I haven't yet started this task, but I've been thinking it would be really awesome to put together a way of looking at the personal growth path. Now, I don't know if that's possible because we're all very different, but I know that it's been done in 4 consciousness stages by the, the Centers for Spiritual Living. They teach a whole course about how we grow and the fact that you can grow up to the 4th level, but you're still always going to touch on the others.
Interesting. I don't know much about that.
Yeah. So I wish if I'd known I was going to mention it, I would have looked it up for you, but oh well, everybody else
Okay. We'll talk again.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think it would be really awesome to either look at those levels or say what are the sort of stages and what should we know that we take along with us on the journey, because it's not like we learn this thing and then we leave it behind and we learn this thing. It all comes with us, right?
Right. But I also think, Maslow's hierarchy, you couldn't say it for a second.
Yep.
That always really hit me as so real, because goes back to what I said, that you can't always be positive and you can't always use the tips and tricks. If
Right.
you're not getting your basic needs met, you're not safe, you don't have a roof over your head, you don't have food, anything like that. How can you even think about spiritual enlightenment?
It's not, oh my God. I spent 3 years homeless. I did. And I was in my 50s. So this was like, what is happening? And I didn't have to be on the street. Thank God. I didn't have to be on the street. I didn't have to be in my car. There were friends who took me in. So over that 3-year period, there were places I could stay that were indoors and that, all that. What was I going to say? I went and lost my train of thought.
We were talking about how you can't be thinking about spiritual enlightenment when you're suffering.
So I met a lot of homeless people at different events, the Jewish family service was where I went to get food, where I went to get some counseling and things like that. And they have like get-togethers where we would do artwork or we would watch movies about Judaism. And it was some really amazing people, but quite a few of them were freaking brilliant. And quite a few of them were mentally ill.
Yeah.
And absolutely focused on the misery. Like there wasn't a spark of hope there that was showing that maybe I can come out of this. That just wasn't there.
Right.
And I was a mess, especially at the beginning. I was like, how did this happen? How could I possibly have been, how could I become homeless? Like, this is a shaming of my whole family. Like, I went deep with the whole shame thing. And, but I was determined. I was like, if this is the way I end, I'm going to gather up my pride. I'm not going to beg for help from friends. I'm going to get help where I can socially, like from Jewish Family Service and other places. But I'm not going to appear like a wimpy. Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep my pride. And I'm going to also stick with the very little I've managed to really identify as practical and true about spirituality. And so one of the things I did was I would look around me always to see what was positive, what was good, what was fulfilling, what was a little bit better than the current moment. And I want to tell you about this one bus driver. I was going downtown on the bus every day to and from work for this telemarketing job. And this one bus driver was so epic. He would pull over to pick people up. And when they would come on, he'd go, "Hello, good morning. How are you? It is so good to see you." He was effusive and warm and real. And I fell in love with him. And then when he would pull away to get back on the road, he'd say to the whole bus, "Okay, family, here we go."
I love that.
My heart, oh, my heart. I only saw him that one day.
Oh,
Every
he's
time
the
he pulled away.
light.
He is a light book. Absolutely. Okay, family. And I felt like his family. I felt not alone for the first time in months.
That's amazing.
Oh my God. So really, I was looking for these clues of proof of life.
Yep.
And that's the one thing that I see, that people who are homeless and mentally ill, they don't necessarily have that knowing that there is life to have proof of.
Right.
And
Well,
that's what that.
The sad thing is when you're there and you're saying, "Oh my God, everything is so awful, and I'm never going to get help, and I'm always going to be on the street," then the universe conspires to say what you're saying is true. And so you're not going to get off the street and you're not going to find the help you need. It's a horrible situation to be in because they've got to, at some point, hopefully find some shimmer of light to turn their thought process around so that they can think of better things and start to pull that into their universe.
Or simply not have anything. Like the night when I was completely going down for the third time emotionally, and I just said to Spirit, and I meant it as a statement of like, this is the truth now. I've got nothing. Like, I don't have an idea. I don't have a concept. I don't have a hope. I've got nothing. And it wasn't I've got nothing. You got to do something. It was just like this surrender moment, this allowing moment of like, yeah, I've got nothing. And in that letting go of having to have the answer my way, I got a spark of pride. Right. But I think that I think the time we're in, I think the evolutionary period we're in truly is about us coming to an understanding of how to be self-actualized.
Yes.
How to have our personal agency so that we go, I'm not feeling particularly satisfied or fulfilled or happy or joyous or whatever the thing is that we're hoping to feel. I'm not feeling that. I can shift it. I can actually choose to feel something a little better than what I'm feeling right now. And I have that power.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's interesting that, like you said, we're all going through that now, because what happens is sometimes you say, "Oh, now I can shift my thoughts, or I can, get into a better space." The universe goes, "Well, let me just test that." And so you have all these things going on in different areas of the world, and you're getting tested. So it's kind of hard, but it's also like you have to dig up all the dirt so that you can plant flowers.
That's so pretty. That's so pretty.
Thanks.
I use that phrasing too, that I get tested, but I don't really believe it. I mean,
Okay.
if what you mean is there's somebody who's testing me, I don't
No,
think so. Okay.
no,
But yeah,
I mean it like the universe. I know that when you send something out there, it wants you to prove it's true. It's like when you're looking for something, you find it. Do you know what I mean?
I just think it's our energy, our accustomed energies that are still
Uh,
rolling out.
okay, that could be.
I just think it's that thing where you're driving 100 miles an hour and you can't come to a dead stop just because you want
Totally,
to
yeah.
roll to a stop. But as far as what's going on in our country right now, holy God, you know,
Right.
so I feel very, very fortunate because I went through a load of poverty and homelessness and all this stuff that nobody wants to face. Nobody wants to ever have. And most everybody will do anything not to face, not to go into, including me. But I did it all back. So, um, and my challenge to myself was, can I find a way to shift this energy? And I had to learn that stuff that I just said to you. Like I had to start investigating. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why am I still without money? Don't you, if you focus on that, you're not going to focus on feeling your abundance and you're not going to be seeding that future. These are very
Yeah.
tough things to commit to even working on. Forget making them, but
Hmm.
tough, right?
Well, yeah. And I think, like we were talking about earlier, in your childhood, you're taught all these things. Like in my family, I was taught money was dirty. Don't touch it, it's dirty. And rich people are jerks. And, money was not something. And no, kids do not get to talk to their parents about money. We don't have any, and it's none of your business. That's what I was pretty much taught. So yeah, it was like this is adult stuff. And so I never learned about it. The only thing I learned was that it was bad. And
Mm.
so yeah, the first like 20 years of my adulthood, I was living so poor. If my parents had not helped me, I would have been homeless. And so yeah, I had to get to a place that just in the last year or so where I worked on those money blocks and worked on my misconceptions. And oh my gosh, I like within a year's time totally turned it around and brought in a job that was making like major more than what I was making before. And it just all turned around.
That's so exciting to me to hear.
Yeah.
Just by working on your beliefs. I've never been, that's never been my best mode. Let me look at the belief and let me change it. And what I found is stronger is if I focus on the emotional setting and
Mhm.
start to change that and then allow the energy that is now improved to do the right thing for me.
That
So
makes sense.
so tell me how do you work on belief in a way that's effective?
Well, I think you have to realize that you have that belief because a lot of us go through the day and we don't even realize that we're talking to ourselves in our head. We don't realize that, like, I didn't know I had all those beliefs about money. I had forgotten all that I had learned, you know what I mean? Or I didn't forget what I learned, but I forgot that that was what I was being taught.
Right.
And so, um, I think the first way is to really do an assessment of yourself and figure out what you believe, like maybe do some journaling every day. I'm a huge journal fan. And I like to do brain dumps where I just throw everything on the page. And I also like to write letters. I've written letters to my mom that I will never give to her because I love her too much. But,
Right.
sometimes you have to get things out. And that helps you realize what your beliefs are. And only then can you start to work on changing them.
So how do you change them? Do you talk to yourself about, like I was saying before, like, um, I don't know if I said it on this podcast or another one, but you know, um, are you really less than? I don't think so. Okay, so do you have qualities that are really great? Yeah, I actually do. I have this. Cool. How does that feel? Really good. Feel better? Yeah. Thing.
Yeah, been there.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I had to, when I'm listening to something in my head, I had to start catching myself saying things like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Or, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Things like that. I had to, once I realized I was saying those things, then I had to actually try to stop them. So I would actually write down what my thought was and then write and switch it around like you just did. And like if I thought, oh my God, I'm so stupid, then I would write beside it where I wrote that, I would write, I have a social work degree and an MBA, and if I am an intelligent woman, there's no reason for me to be calling myself stupid. So, I mean, you have to counter everything.
It's funny. There's something so magical about appreciating oneself and
Hmm.
daring. There's like a daringness aspect to that for women.
Oh, yeah. Because we're supposed to be petite and we're supposed to be modest and quiet, all those things.
Likeable, sexy, white, young. What
Yeah.
list as long as your arm? Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot match up to that. There's nobody who can match up to that.
Maybe Martha Stewart. I don't know.
Nah, not even her. My God, come on. Martha Stewart is very interesting. That woman is capable as hell, isn't she?
Yeah. And she got thrown in jail for something that no man's got thrown in. Well, maybe some men have, but a lot of men have done what she did and didn't get thrown in jail.
I know.
But she
I
was
know.
female. How dare her?
You know, well, I was thinking while you were talking about how the wise men and wise women, I hope it's and the wise women
Hmm.
down in like South America and stuff are the people who really are neurospicy.
Hmm.
Do you know more about that than I do?
No, I don't know about.
Heard it. I've just come to understand that the people who think differently, the people who are more spiritual, more creative, more out of the box, not making sense according to the norms,
Oh,
those are
yeah.
the wise people.
Well, they're more innovative. They come up with ideas that other people don't. If
Right.
you look back through history, I think Albert Einstein was considered neurodivergent.
Ooh.
Um, there's a ton of people. If you look through, you can Google and it'll tell you tons of people that have created things and they were neurodivergent. And so, yeah, I mean, even entrepreneurs are more likely to be neurodivergent than not.
Well, I'm going to claim it for myself then, because honest to God, I was trying to schedule something. I hope this doesn't turn out to be offensive, but honestly, it's a miracle that I'm grounded. Thank God
Mhm.
I'm a Capricorn. Thank God, because I'm always out here. I'm always deep
Mhm.
within or way out. And I don't know if that's neurodivergent. It makes me really question if the term neurodivergent simply means individual in a way.
I think it could, except for then I'd be very careful of saying everybody's a little neurodivergent because they're individually themselves when I
Wow.
think the world is set up to help neurotypical people, like the school system and things like that. So if you think differently, you have a very hard time sometimes in the government or in the school system.
Well, given that I am the founder of the Goodbye Goodgirl Project, I have to say I think the norms are ill in their rigidity.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're healthy. I don't think that they're correct. We are spiritually blossoming, amazing people. And no, I would never say, well, everybody's a little neurodivergent.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who do say that, though. I know you wouldn't. Oh,
They
yeah.
do.
Yeah. When my daughter got diagnosed with autism, she was diagnosed from a hospital behavioral health department by two different doctors who both put her through 3 different testing periods that we had to go to 3 separate times. And her PCP, when she got the notification, said they'll give anybody an autism diagnosis these days. And I said, thank you very much. And I went to the register or her checkout desk and I said, we won't be coming back.
Good for
That's
you.
it for me. Yeah.
Good for, did she ask why? Did you get to lodge a complaint or anything?
I got to tell the receptionist why. Yeah.
Okay,
And
good.
the receptionist had just watched my daughter stim. You know what stimming is?
Oh, no.
Okay, stimming is what neurodivergent people, especially if you're on the autism spectrum, they do it as a comforting kind of thing to get themselves calmed down. My daughter, what she does is she walks back and forth, she paces, and she just goes and goes and goes. She can do it all day long, wear out the carpet. And so they had just watched her do that before we went into the doctor's appointment. So the receptionist, when I told her what the doctor said, was just like appalled. She's like, that's crazy. Yeah.
Okay. I want people held accountable for the crap that they do.
Yes.
That's like a wish of mine. Well, this is the best conversation that I've had all day.
Me too.
Awesome. Totally awesome. I'm so grateful. We have to keep this conversation going.
Yes.
And is there anything that you would like to share with the audience before we sign off for now?
Yeah, I'd just like to say again that you need to love yourself for who you are. All the good, the bad, the ugly, it's not bad and ugly. You know, just because someone told you that, forget that. Be yourself, love yourself, and anybody who doesn't accept you the way you are, they don't need to be in your circle anymore. That's how I feel.
And that's the way it is. That is
Yeah.
so self-supportive and beautiful message.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh my goodness. Thank you too. This really has been fantastic. And I'm going to put your information in for people to get in touch with you to get your help. And I understand you're taking a big professional step soon.
Yes.
So when you're ready to announce that, then people will be able to come to you for that kind of thing. And
yeah. And can I just mention my podcast real quick?
Please,
I would love to have people check me out on Mental Health Warrior and Neurospicy Mama. Put it in any podcast player and it's there. There's probably about 61 episodes, so you got a lot to listen to if you want to check it out.
So I got to be on it. It was fantastic. It's just fantastic.
Oh, everybody should listen to that episode. That was just a week or two ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, check that out. She was great.
Thank you. We were great.
Yeah.
My friend, keep on being you, and I'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Can you tell that we really hit it off? We are good friends now. We really did turn things upside down, though, today. How fun was that? Huge thanks to Lori for inviting me to swap seats and let her work her signature magic as the host of the Goodbye Goodgirl podcast. I hope you enjoyed this Inside Out episode as much as we did making it. If you loved what you heard, and I know you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up on YouTube and show Lori some love. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss another one of her real, bold, and inspiring conversations. Until next time, keep embracing your true self, stay a little wild, and remember, keep advancing, warrior.